The rain came down hard over the colony road. It wasn't like Earth's rain. On Voluna 9, the water had a strange blue color and made soft humming sounds when it touched metal. Mira, a young engineer, drove her small hover jeep slowly through the storm. Her shift at the repair station had been long, and she was tired. Her hands still smelled like engine oil. Mira loved machines. She didn't care if they were old or broken, she liked fixing them. Still, this was her least favorite kind of weather. Her windshield wipers worked, but the rain blurred everything. She squinted ahead, trying to see through the fog. That's when she noticed it. A hover car was stopped on the side of the road. Its lights blinked slowly. One of its rear legs had folded inward, and sparks flew from the bottom. Most people would have kept driving. It was late. It was raining. And the colony wasn't always safe at night. But Mira wasn't like most people. She slowed down, pulled over, and grabbed her tool bag from the back seat. "Great," she whispered to herself. "Now I'm wet and stupid." As she stepped out into the rain, it hit her like a wave. Her jacket was thick, but the water still found its way in. Her boots made soft splashes on the metal road. She walked toward the broken hover car, raising her hand. "Hello? Are you okay?" she called out. The driver's door opened slowly. A tall man stepped out. He wore a plain gray coat, soaked all the way through. His face was calm, and he looked a little surprised to see her. "Yes," he said softly. "Flat support unit failed. I tried the emergency fix kit. Didn't work." Mira looked at him for a moment. He didn't look dangerous. He looked tired. Older, maybe in his late 50s. His hands were clean, but his eyes were sharp. "I'm Mira," she said. "I'm a mechanic. Let me take a look." He nodded once. "Rallo, thank you." Mira crouched by the damaged hover leg. Sparks flashed again, but she didn't flinch. She opened her kit and took out a multi-tool. Her fingers moved quickly, checking the wiring, then the core stabilizer. "You blew a backup fuse," she said. "These models always do that in the rain." "Poor design." "You know this type well?" Rallo asked. "Too well. My station gets 2 of these a week." She worked fast, even as the rain poured down her back. Her hair stuck to her face, but she didn't care. After 10 minutes, she stood up and wiped her hands on her jacket. "Try now," she said. Rallo stepped inside and tapped the console. The hover car rose a few inches and stayed level. "It works," he said. "Of course it works." Mira smiled. Tired but proud. "You should replace that fuse block, though, or it'll fail again." Rallo stepped out again. He looked at her with calm eyes. "Thank you. Not many stop in this weather." Mira shrugged. Didn't seem right to leave someone stuck in the rain. She turned to walk back to her jeep, but he called out, "Wait, let me pay you." She stopped. "No need. Just glad I could help." He looked puzzled. "But your time, your tools, it's..." "Fine," she said. "If I needed help, I'd want someone to stop for me too." She got into her jeep and started the engine. It hummed softly as the blue rain slid off the windows. Rallo watched as she drove away into the night. That night, Mira reached home, soaked and cold. Her home was small, just 2 rooms near the outer district, but it was hers. She changed into dry clothes and sat near her heater, sipping warm spiced tea. Outside, the storm continued. She thought about the man Rallo. Something about him felt different, not in a bad way. Just quiet, calm, important somehow. But she shook the thought away. He was just a traveler, probably passing through. She closed her eyes, not knowing that her small act of kindness had already changed her life. Because Rallo wasn't just a traveler. His real name was Ralaman Tix, one of the most brilliant tech minds in the colonies. He had built half of Voluna 9's early AI systems. He owned ships, factories, and even half a data moon. But he had grown tired of fame. He liked to move in secret, seeing the world without guards or walls. And now, for the first time in years, someone had helped him without asking for anything in return. Inside his car, Rollo sat quietly for a long time, watching the road where she had disappeared. Then, with a small smile, he tapped his wrist screen. "Locate mechanic Mira, Outer District," he said. "Record interaction. Mark priority." The I voice replied, "Search confirmed." "Do you wish to initiate contact?" "Not yet," Rollo said. "Soon. Let's see what else she can do." And in the soft glow of his console, he watched the rain fall around him, already planning what would come next. The room felt silent after Mira said yes. Her voice still echoed in her mind, "I'm in." Raloman Tix looked at her with calm eyes, but there was a spark of something deeper hope, maybe. He nodded, then turned toward a nearby panel. The wall behind him slid open, revealing a glass elevator. "This way," he said gently. Mira followed, her boots clicking on the clean floor. The elevator moved without sound, rising quickly through the tall white tower. As they rose, she saw more of the capital city, shining towers, floating bridges, green sky gardens. It all looked like a dream. Nothing like her rusty workshop back in the Outer District. "You built all this?" Mira asked, staring at the view. "Not alone," Rollo replied. "I had help. Good people, people like you." Mira looked away shyly. "I'm not special. I just fix things." "That's why you're special," Rollo said with a small smile. The elevator stopped at the top floor. When the doors opened, Mira gasped. Before her was a huge circular lab filled with glowing machines, floating screens, and quiet, humming drones. In the center was a large, blue-lit sphere, turning slowly in the air. Inside it, tiny lights moved. "Like stars. This is the heart of Project Skylink," Rollo said. Mira walked closer to the sphere. It looked like a model of the galaxy, each point showing a human colony. The lights blinked and moved, showing data transfers, messages, signals, and threats. "What does it do?" she asked. Rollo stepped beside her. "It links every human colony instantly. We use quantum signals to send data without delay. That means help, warnings, medical scans, anything can move across the stars in seconds." Mira's eyes widened. "No delay? But isn't that impossible?" "It was for a long time. Until we found a way to use a rare element, zirconium. It grows naturally on Voluna 9, deep under the mountains." Mira remembered hearing about mining teams that disappeared underground. She had thought those were just stories. "But there's a problem," Rollo said. He waved his hand and the glowing map changed. Red lines showed damage across several systems. "Something or someone is trying to block the signal," he said. "We believe it's a growing alien group near the edge of our known space. They fear Skylink." Mira looked closely. One blinking red point was moving closer toward Voluna 9. "That's too close," Rollo nodded. "Yes, that's why we need to finish Skylink and secure it." As they walked through the lab, Rollo showed her the team. There was Soma, a data coder who built the system's logic pathways. He spoke little, but when he did, his words were sharp and clear. Then there was Bryn, a cheerful tech who worked with Mira on field tests. She had curly hair, round glasses, and laughed often. Myra also met Niven, Rollo's AI assistant. It floated in the air like a soft blue orb, its voice smooth and kind. "Welcome, Mira," Niven said. "Your field repair history is impressive. We're glad to have you." For the first time in a long while, Mira felt something she didn't expect. Belonging. Over the next few days, Mira trained in the lab. She learned to read the Skylink network, repair its small node stations, and upgrade its signal shields. Unlike other places she had worked, this team listened to her. They valued her ideas, no matter how simple. She even found herself smiling more. One evening, while adjusting the Skylink relay, Bryn turned to her. "You know, Rollo never invites just anyone. The fact you're here, it means he sees something. In you, Mira shrugged. I'm just fixing things, Bryn grinned. Exactly. One afternoon, a small alert blinked on the main screen. Soma frowned. Node 47 just went dark. Rollo stood up. That's a test station near the outer ridge. It was working fine yesterday. I'll go check it, Mira offered quickly. Bryn nodded. I'll go with you. They took a fast skimmer and headed out into the Red Mountains. The sky above was clear, but the wind was strong. At the test station, they found signs of damage. One panel was melted, and the signal unit had been pulled out carefully, not broken by nature, but by someone. This wasn't a storm, Mira said. Someone did this on purpose. Bryn looked worried. Why would someone attack a test node? I don't know, Mira said, but this means Skylink is a target. They returned to the lab and gave their report. Rollo listened carefully. Someone inside our own colony may be working against us, he said quietly. Soma added, we've had small data leaks before. Maybe they weren't accidents. Rollo looked at each of them. From now on, we work carefully, watch everything. If someone is trying to stop Skylink, we must find out who and why. Mira nodded. Her hands were still dirty from fixing the damaged node. But her mind was sharp. She was no longer just a garage mechanic. She was part of something bigger, something that could protect all of humanity, and she wasn't going to let anyone break it. The next morning, Mira woke up early. Her back still ached from yesterday's long shift, and her boots were still wet from the rain. But her mind kept going back to the man she helped on the road, Rollo. He had spoken so calmly, so politely. Not many travelers acted like that, especially not during a storm. Most people were in a hurry, rude, or scared. But Rollo was different. Still, Mira didn't think much more about it. She had bills to pay, machines to fix, and another long shift ahead. She grabbed her tools and walked toward her repair shop. The colony streets were muddy and still wet from last night's storm. Neon signs buzzed above, and delivery drones flew between buildings. Mira lived in the outer district, where power lines shook in the wind and metal walls were patched with old parts. It wasn't pretty, but it was home. At her small garage, 2 old bots waited at the gate. Her regulars. Morning, Tinny. Morning, Bolt, she said, patting their heads. The bots beeped happily. Mira got to work fixing a broken solar scooter, her hands moving quickly, mind half-focused. But that strange feeling was still there. Something about Rollo didn't sit right, not in a bad way. Just mysterious. Far across the colony, inside a tall building hidden by blue glass, Rolloman Tick sat in his private office. Most people didn't know who he really was. They had heard his name in textbooks or old news, but nobody had seen his face in years. He didn't want fame. He wanted progress. His AI assistant Niven hovered beside him. A smooth orb of light, Niven spoke gently. Search. Results complete. Mira Darren, age 24, mechanic, outer district. No criminal record, known for helping others, skilled in field repairs. Rollo nodded slowly. I saw that myself. She refused payment, Niven added, and fixed your car in the rain using only simple tools. Rollo leaned back in his chair, deep in thought. She could have driven away, he said. But she didn't. Niven asked, do you wish to remove your mask and reveal your identity to her? Not yet. Rollo said, first, let's test her curiosity. Deliver an invitation, but keep it vague, Niven glowed softly. Understood. The next evening, as Mira closed her garage, a small drone landed near her door. It was silver and round, with the Tix Foundation logo on its side. Mira frowned. Tix Foundation? That's one of the old tech groups, right? The drone opened and showed a glowing message. Miss Mira Darren, you are invited to a private meeting regarding a technical opportunity. Your skills have been noticed. Transport will arrive at 0700 hours. Attendance is your choice. Tick's foundation Mira blinked. Is this real? She whispered. She had never worked for big companies. Her life was small, fixing things, helping people, saving coins. Why would someone like Tix want her? At first, she thought it might be a mistake. But deep down, she felt it. WSN single quotes to. She folded the message and looked up at the stars above. Maybe, just maybe, something bigger was waiting. The next morning, a sleek silver car hovered outside her garage. Mira had barely slept, her mind full of questions. The driver, a young woman with short hair, opened the door for her. Miss Mira? Please come with me. Mira stepped in quietly. The car was silent inside, with soft lights and smooth seats. It flew above the colony rooftops, heading toward the center, a place Mira had never seen before. Tall towers rose into the sky. Everything was clean, glowing, perfect. No broken walls. No rust, no wires hanging like vines. Mira pressed her face against the window in wonder. Finally, they arrived at a large white building. The doors opened silently, and Mira was guided. Inside, she entered a round room with a glowing floor and soft music playing. And there he stood, Rollo, the man she helped. Mira's eyes widened. You? He smiled. This time, he wore a smooth black jacket, and his voice was clearer. My real name is Rolloman Tix. I didn't lie to you. I just didn't give the full truth. Mira took a step back. You're that Tix? The tech genius? Rollo nodded. I was. Now I'm just a quiet man watching the world move. But you stopped to help a stranger. You fixed my car in the rain. You reminded me what good looks like. Mira didn't know what to say. He continued. I'm working on something important. Something that could help all of humanity. I need people who can think fast, fix problems, and care about others. I think you're one of them. Mira finally spoke. What is it? A project, Rollo said. It's called Project Skylink. It's a new system that will connect every human colony through real-time data and defense links. It could protect us from threats we haven't even seen yet. Mira stared at him, eyes wide. And you want me to work on that? Yes, Rollo said. No tests, no lies. Just your heart, your hands, and your mind. Mira looked down at her hands, dirty, rough, always fixing things. She had never dreamed of working with people like him. But maybe she should. All right, she said. I'm in. Rollo smiled. Then welcome, Mira. Let's change the future. The red light on the Skylink map blinked faster and faster. Helios 5, a human deep space station far from Voluna 9, had sent a distress signal. Something dangerous was happening out there. Mira stood beside Rollo, staring at the blinking dot. Her heart beat fast. What's attacking them? She asked. Rollo looked serious. We don't know yet. But the message said something about alien ships. No name, no shape, just fast, silent attackers. Bryn added, Skylink picked up the signal instantly. Without this system, we wouldn't even know they were in danger. Soma tapped on the screen. We need to connect with the station. Maybe we can still help. Rollo nodded. Myra, join the emergency response team. You've been in the field. We need you in command of ground operations. Mira didn't hesitate. I'll do it. The next few hours moved quickly. Skylink flashed with new alerts. Mira worked side by side with Rollo and the others, sending updates to nearby colonies and stations. With the system active, every human base and range received the warning in seconds. On Earth, a council met. On Mars, defense teams powered up. On Voluna 7, medical ships were launched. Everything moved like a machine, but not all the news was good. Node 52 just dropped offline, Bryn said. That's the main uplink to the western colonies. Rollo looked up. Not again. Mira frowned. That node was working 2 days ago. I checked it myself. Soma added, it wasn't a system error. Someone shut it down from inside. Rollo's face turned cold. Then we have a traitor. Mira's thoughts raced. A traitor? Inside the lab? Her mind went over every team member. Who had access? Who? Had reasons? Who could hide so well? She turned to Niven, the AI assistant. Niven, check all tool logs. Show me who removed signal tools in the last 72 hours. Searching now, Niven replied. The screen blinked, showing a list. Most names were normal hers, Bryn's, Soma's, but one name stood out. Taran Vel. Mira narrowed her eyes. He's one of the data cleaners, right? Bryn nodded. He doesn't talk much. Always working late. Rollo spoke slowly. I trusted him with old signal data. I thought he was quiet, not dangerous. Mira stood up. I'll go talk to him. Mira walked quickly through the side hallway to the lower lab, where Taran usually worked. The lights were dim. The room was full of silent screens and humming wires. Taran sat at a desk, his back to her. Taran, Mira said, trying to stay calm. We need to talk. He didn't answer. She stepped closer. Why did you take the signal tools without logging them? Taran turned around slowly. His face was pale, and his eyes tired. I didn't think anyone would notice, he said quietly. You shut down Node 52, Myra said. People could die because of that. Taran looked down. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I was paid to delay things, that's all. Just slow the project. Paid by who? Myra asked. Taran hesitated. I don't know their real name. I only know they're not human. Myra's eyes widened. Aliens? Taran nodded. They told me Skylink would make humans too strong. They said if we connected all colonies, war would come. They said they just wanted balance. You believe them? Mira asked in shock. I was afraid, Taran said. And I needed the money. Mira stepped forward. It's not too late. Help us fix what you broke. But Taran shook his head. They'll come for me now. I already sent them the codes. Suddenly, the screens around them went black. Then red lights flashed. Warning, security breach. Skylink core compromised. Mira ran back to the control room. Rollo, Taran gave them access codes. Someone's trying to shut the core down. Rollo moved fast. Soma, lock all ports. Bryn, disconnect manual overrides. Niven floated above them. Unknown code is spreading. Data systems are under attack. Mira jumped to the main console. Her hands moved quickly across the keys. I'm blocking the ports with a firewall patch. Give me 5 seconds. Bryn shouted. They're trying to flood the memory bank. Soma added, CPU temp rising. We have less than 1 minute. Rollo called out, Mira, can you do it? Mira closed her eyes for a split second, then typed the final command. Firewall engaged. Ports locked. The screens blinked, then turned blue again. Status, core secure. Everyone let out a deep breath. Later that night, the team sat quietly in the lab. Taran had been taken away by security. The codes he gave were being replaced. The data damage was stopped just in time. Rollo stood in front of the team. Today, Skylink faced its biggest threat. But because of Myra, we stopped it. The others clapped. Mira looked down, a little shy, but she smiled. We're not finished yet, she said. Helios 5 still needs help. Rollo nodded. Yes, but now we know how important this system is. Without Skylink, that warning would have come too late. Soma added. There could be more spies. There might be, Rollo said. But we'll watch, and we'll protect this. Mira stepped forward. We're stronger now, because we stayed together. Everyone nodded. Mira stood in front of the Skylink core again. The big glowing sphere in the lab showed all human colonies across the stars. Each blinking light was a world full of people, families, workers, children, all depending on this new system. She could feel it now. This was not just another project. This was something that could save lives, Project Skylink had a clear goal: connect every colony through real-time communication, even across light years. With the system fully active, no planet would ever be alone in danger again. But someone was trying to stop it. Mira remembered the damaged node they had found with Bryn-melted wires, stolen parts. It was no accident. Someone had broken it on purpose. And now, Rollo and the team were working day and night to stop further damage. Inside the lab, the mood had changed. The team still smiled and shared jokes, but under their voices was a new tension. Each click on the keyboard, each scan of the network, came with caution. Node 23 is unstable, Soma said one morning. It's losing signal every few minutes. Rollo looked at the map. That's close to the desert outpost. I'll go, Myra offered. I've worked near that area before. Rollo nodded. Take Bryn, be careful. Mira packed her tools quickly. Bryn grabbed the signal scanner and both stepped into the hover skimmer. The skimmer lifted silently and flew across the rough land, dust clouds following behind. The desert was dry and wide, with red sand stretching to the horizon. The wind blew small rocks in their path. After an hour, they saw the node tower rising in the distance, a thin black pole with blinking lights at the top. As they landed, Bryn scanned the signal. Still weak, she said. We need to check the core. Mira climbed up the base ladder. She opened the main panel and stared in silence. Then she frowned. It's clean, she said. No cuts, no burns. Bryn climbed up beside her. So it's not damage? Mira pointed to the signal board. No, it was changed. She pulled out a tiny wire moved to the wrong port on purpose. This is someone smart, Mira said. They didn't break it, they made it look like a fault. Bryn looked serious. Someone's trying to make us think the system is weak. And if people lose trust in Skylink, Myra said slowly, they'll shut it down. When they returned to the lab, Mira gave the report. Rollo listened with a sharp gaze. Someone is not just attacking. They're trying to ruin the whole project from the inside. Maybe more than one person, Soma added. We need tighter security. Rollo nodded. We'll add new ID scans and limit who can touch the nodes. And Mira keep going out to inspect sites. You notice small details others miss. Mira felt a spark of pride. For the first time in her life, someone truly trusted her. Over the next few days, Mira and Bryn visited node after node. Some were untouched. Others had hidden changes, small, careful, smart. Each time Mira fixed the problem. But each time, the danger felt closer. Then one night, while checking node 38 near the mountain ridge, something changed. As Myra worked under the panel, she heard a soft click behind her. She froze. Bryn whispered, "Don't move." Mira turned her head slowly. A shadow stood near the trees. Someone tall, in a dark coat, with a black mask covering their face. In one hand was a small device, blinking red. The figure stepped forward, but didn't speak. Then, just as suddenly, they ran disappearing into the woods. Mira and Bryn chased them, but couldn't catch up. They returned to the node and found the device planted near the base. A remote overload bomb, Mira said. They were going to blow the whole tower. Bryn stared at it. That would have shut down this whole side of the network. They carried the device back to the lab. When Rollo saw it, his face grew serious. We're not dealing with small thieves. This is planned sabotage. And someone is helping them from inside. Niven added, all records show this device came from the inner colony's tech storage. Someone with access moved it. Rollo spoke calmly but firmly. From now on, everyone is watched. No tools leave this lab without record. And Mira, I need you to lead the field check team. Me? Mira asked, surprised. Yes, Rollo said. You're the only one finding the truth out there. You see what others miss. Mira took a deep breath. All right, I'll do it. For days after that, Mira worked harder than ever. She fixed nodes, traced broken wires, checked ID logs, and read code lines late into the night. She and Bryn even caught a drone trying to sneak into a locked tool room. One evening, Mira sat alone on the tower roof, staring at the stars. The colony lights blinked far below. The wind blew gently across her face. She thought about her life before fixing scooters, working long hours, no one knowing her name. Now she was part of something huge. She looked up at the stars. "I won't let them break this," she whispered, and she meant it. Back in the lab, Rollo watched the map. Red zones had shrunk. The system was stronger now. But on the far edge of the galaxy, one red light blinked faster than the rest. Niven spoke softly. "Deep Space Station Helios 5 has sent a signal. What is it?" Rollo asked. The AI replied, "It's a distress call. They're under attack." Rollo stood still for a moment. Then he turned to the team. "Alert everyone. Skylink is about to be tested for real." The next morning, the town felt quiet but peaceful. Clouds floated softly in the sky. Birds chirped on rooftops. Inside Mina's bakery, the smell of fresh bread and sweet rolls filled the air. Mina stood near the oven, wearing her apron, hair tied back, and a small smile on her face. She looked around at the cozy tables, the soft lights, and the people enjoying breakfast. Her heart felt full. Life had changed, but in the best way. Just a few months ago, she was alone, struggling to keep her small bakery alive. Now she had a team, 2 branches, and people from faraway cities coming just to taste her food. But more than that, she had found a true friend. Mr. Darren, the man she once helped on a rainy night, was no longer a stranger. He had become a part of her story. That morning, he walked in as always. No guards, no suit, no noise. Just him, in a simple jacket, holding a newspaper and 2 cups of coffee. "Morning," he said with a smile. "Morning," she replied. He handed her the coffee. "Vanilla, no sugar. Just how you like it." "You do remember," she smiled. They sat at their usual table by the window, the same place where they first had tea and bread. People around them smiled too, used to seeing the two together. Mina looked at the newspaper headline, "Kindness Builds Empires, the woman behind the most loved bakery in the city." She shook her head. "This still feels like a dream." Darren leaned back. "You made it real." Later that day, they visited the second bakery branch in the city. It was bigger, with more seats and a beautiful garden outside. The team there welcomed them with cheers. "Miss Mina," one of the bakers said, "we sold out of lemon tarts again." "That's a good problem," Darren laughed. Mina looked around proudly. The walls were painted light cream, with pictures of her original bakery on display. On the main wall was a photo, her handing tea to Darren during that rainy night, both smiling under a small umbrella. She had not known the photo existed. "Where did you get this?" she asked. Darren smiled. "A local man saw us that day. He took the photo and later sent it to me. I kept it hidden until the right time." Mina looked at it, her eyes shining. "That was the moment everything began." "Yes," Darren said. "A flat tire and a kind heart." That evening, Darren invited Mina to a small park near the hills. It was quiet, with trees swaying and stars beginning to appear. They walked along the path slowly. "I've been thinking," Darren said. "You helped me when I was tired, wet, and alone. You didn't ask for anything. You didn't judge. That kind of kindness is rare." Mina looked up at the sky. "I just did what felt right, and it changed my life," he said. "I thought I had everything, but I didn't know peace or warmth until I met you." She didn't know what to say. They stopped near a wooden bench. Fireflies glowed around them. Darren turned to her. "I have one last surprise," he said, reaching into his coat pocket. Mina's eyes widened. "Another one?" He held out a small box. Inside it was a key, but not an old one like before. This one was shiny, new, and had a small wooden tag tied to it. She read the tag. Mina's Hill Cafe opening soon. Her mouth opened slightly. Is this? Yes, he nodded. A third place. Yours alone, on this hill with the best view, no investors. No plans, just your dream cafe. Mina's hands trembled slightly. I don't know what to say. Say you'll take it, he said gently. You've given so much. Let the world give back now. They sat together on the bench. The night was silent, and stars sparkled. Above, Mina leaned her head on his shoulder. I'm not used to such big things, she whispered. But your heart is big, he said. It always was. She looked up at him. Why me, Darren? There are many kind people. He smiled. Because on the night I felt small, you made me feel human again. You didn't see money or power. You saw a person. She blinked away a tear. And now, he added softly, I see you. Weeks passed, and the Hill Cafe began to take shape. Mina designed every part: wooden tables, wide windows, a small corner for books, and a garden of yellow flowers. The place was calm, warm, and filled with love. Just like her. On the opening day, Darren stood quietly beside her as she cut the ribbon. Reporters came, but she spoke only a few words. This is not just a cafe. It's a thank you to everyone who believes in kindness. One small act can build 100 dreams. The crowd clapped. People hugged her. Children laughed. And Darren smiled. That night, as stars lit up the sky, Mina closed the doors of her new cafe. Darren was waiting outside, just like the first night they met. It's raining a little, she said, holding out her hand. He pulled out an umbrella. I came prepared this time. She laughed. They walked down the hill together, sharing the umbrella. And in that soft rain, under the quiet stars, two hearts walked side by side, not as strangers, not as Millionaire and Baker, but as something more. A new beginning had just started. The message from Helios 5 kept repeating through the Skylink system. This is Station Helios 5. We are under attack. Requesting help. Enemy ships unknown. Shields failing. Please respond. Mira stood in front of the glowing Skylink core. With Rollo, Bryn, and Soma. Her hands were shaking, but her mind was steady. How many hours has the signal been active? Mira asked. 4 hours. Niven, the AI, replied. No delay. Signal is live and constant. They're holding on, Rollo said quietly. But not for long. The blinking lights on the Skylink map showed several colonies already responding. Medical ships, defense drones, and supply vessels had started moving toward Helios 5, but it still wasn't enough. We need to coordinate them, Mira said. Skylink is more than a signal. We can guide them, Bryn nodded. You mean we use Skylink like a battle map? Yes, Mira said. One screen. One command system, all colonies working together. Soma raised an eyebrow. That's never been done. Then let's be the first, Mira said. Within an hour, the lab had changed. The Skylink core now showed live paths of ships moving toward Helios 5. Every blinking dot was a team ready to help. Mira, Bryn, and Soma set up new control stations. Rollo stayed near the main console, giving instructions. Mira took the lead. Shipline Alpha 3, adjust path to avoid asteroid belt, she said. Drone Unit Delta, connect with Earth scanner grid. Skylink glowed brighter as more systems came online. Mira's fingers flew across the screen. Her voice was calm but firm. She felt something growing inside her: strength, purpose, clarity. This was what she was meant to do. Back at the edge of space, Helios 5 fought to survive. Alien ships, black and silent, circled the station. They were not large, but they moved like shadows. Their weapons were strange, burning through shields like they were paper. Inside the station, people ran through halls, patching damage, protecting each other. Skylink signals appeared on their screens. Help is coming, one crew member said. They're on the way. In the Skylink lab, new alerts flashed. Unknown jammers, Soma said. The alien ships are trying to block the system. Mira leaned over his shoulder. Can we break through? Maybe, he replied. If we boost the quantum signal by redirecting power from our own lab. Bryn looked worried. That would leave us half blind, Mira nodded. Then I'll go to the uplink tower. I'll change the signal angle manually. It's dangerous, Rollo warned. That tower is outside the safe zone. We don't have a choice, Mira said. Every second counts. Mira grabbed her toolkit and jumped into the hover skimmer. Wind blew across the landing pad as she flew toward the uplink tower at the edge of the city. The sky was dark now, clouds moving fast. A storm was coming. She landed near the tall metal tower. Lightning flashed above. Rain began to fall, just like the night she had helped Rollo for the first time. Full circle. She whispered. Mira climbed the tower, her boots slipping on wet metal. She reached the top and opened the main panel. Sparks flew, and cold rain ran down her neck, but she didn't stop. Come on, she muttered. Don't fail me now. She adjusted the angle, entered new codes, and connected the uplink to the high-orbit relay. Back in the lab, Soma shouted. It's working. Signal strength increased. Bryn clapped. She did it, Rollo smiled. She always does. The signal from Skylink became clearer. The ships from Earth, Mars, and Voluna 7 reached Helios 5 just in time. Defense drones formed a shield. Medical pods were launched to bring the injured aboard. The alien ships tried to escape, but Skylink tracked them. With real-time data, human pilots moved faster, smarter. For the first time, colonies that had once acted alone now moved like one united force. And it was all possible because of Myra's idea. Back at the tower, Mira finished sealing the panel. Thunder cracked overhead. She climbed down slowly, soaked and tired. As she stepped into the skimmer, a message came through her wristband. Mission success. Helios 5 is safe. Thanks to you. Mira smiled through the rain. She returned to the lab to loud cheers. The team gathered around her. You were amazing, Bryn said, hugging her. We couldn't have done it without you, Soma added. Rollo walked forward. You turned Skylink into more than just a tool. You made it into a lifeline. Mira looked around at the glowing screens, blinking dots, and smiling faces. No, she said. We did it together. Later that night, the lab was quiet again. Only soft lights glowed. Mira stood at the Skylink core, alone. Niven floated beside her. Would you like to see the thank you messages? Mira nodded. The screen filled with words from all over the galaxy. Thank you, Mira. We were afraid. Now we have hope. Skylink saved our lives. You are the reason we are still here. Myra's eyes filled with tears. Not of sadness, but of pride.